Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the Shadow Machamp in the Open Great League. This Pokemon was really strong back in the day, so let's take a look on what it still can do in this current meta. And I have to say, this Pokemon is highly underrated. It's still a very solid pick for most of the current meta. As you're going to see here in the first matchup already, we're going to encounter a Steelix, which we of course would be able to hard counter, while we kinda hard counter the opponent anyway. So at least now we're going to have the matchup against the Drifblim, which takes usually a little bit longer, allowing us to talk a little bit about the team. We're going to have the Machamp in the lead here, being able to win a lot of scenarios in the two-shield scenario, as you're going to have the Shadow buffed counter plus cross chop is really strong in a lot of matchups. Plus you're going to have coverage with a Rock Slide here, which is a little bit better than Payback in my opinion, making this Pokemon a great lead in the current meta. But of course there are some weaknesses. One of them is the main reason why this Pokemon is not as common as it used to be, which is going to be Machamp, which is now everywhere since the XL update was available, or like since it basically got available with that one. Before, Machamp only hit like around 1400 CP and was already fairly decent in the Great League, but now it's everywhere. And also this is like the issue as well. I'm honestly thinking if you would ban Machamp for a season, Steel types would get a nerf with this, because you would be able to just use something like Machamp a little bit more freely, which would have been really cool for just in general. There are a lot of fighter that's kinda getting turned down by the Machamp, or something like the Poliwrath, the Surfetched. All those Pokemon kinda just not really that viable anymore just because of Machamp. But here we're going to have a team that just really nicely supports this. Saesop, the Lickitung, as well as in the back, the closer. Always best, by the way, the closer is going to be the Mantine. You kinda always want to Saesop the Lickitung in my opinion. But that's going to allow you to have coverage against most of the weaknesses that you have as a Machamp. Machamp loses against Machamp. Lickitung as a Saesop is decent in the 0 as well in the 2-shield scenario. And in the back, we're going to have the Mantine, which if the opponent tries to Saesop the Machamp, you're going to be definitely fine with this one as well. Plus, Lickitung covers the Ghost-type weakness of your Machamp, which you saw already in the first game, where we saw the Saesop of Drifblim. And in the back, we're going to have the Mantine, which is going to be able to beat those Gligar, which is really important for me, as well as also is a hard counter to Machamp. So, like, the two biggest issues here, by the way, I don't know why you went for the Ice Beam there, literally just was like reflexes. Again, this is played during the Go Battle Day. So, or like Go Battle weekend, so if there are some misplays, it's most likely because I'm already like 80 battles in at this point. But we're going to be able to still go for a Rock Slide here against the opponent's Azumarill, which is actually a fairly decent Pokemon to deal with for us, as both our Pokemon in the back can do something against it, but actually the matchup for Machamp is way better than you might expect. This is the thing as well with Machamp. If you don't get destroyed by the fast move, you usually still have a lot of play against those Pokemon. And here we're going to be able to go for the full farmdown with Mantine, and we're going to get to 2 Aerial Aces, winning us the second game here as well. And this team is honestly, if you have those Pokemon laying around, try it out. Honestly, this team works out super well. Can be a little bit tricky against Lantern, because I think the matchup against Lantern is mainly also because Spark does no more damage. Not as ideal for the Machamp. I think you still win in the 2-shield scenario in the lead. But here, for example, we're going to encounter a great lead for us. In comes the Galvantula. This is a little bit tricky to play around, and there were definitely some games where I just completely misplay in general. Here, I just try to get some damage onto them. I think this was the game which I completely misplay. Again, I barely paid attention to the screen as well. It was Go Battle Day, but we can at least talk about what I did wrong here. I should have went for the Body Slam immediately, forcing the opponent to use either a shield or get knocked out, which would have been already nice. And I would outspeed the opponent to the next one, but I get too greedy here, and I was not able to fully farm them down. And I don't decide to use a shield here, which was even stupider, because I won the lead and I need to realign. So I don't know why I did this here. Again, I didn't pay attention to the battle here. This was such an easily winnable game for me, but I just completely threw it. But I still put those stuff into the video, just trying to explain things, because I feel like it's always very important to have some games in the videos where you see losses, where you see mistakes, and this was one of the easiest games to win, and I just lost it because I didn't pay attention and I watched football at the side. But this is also something that you at least can learn from and see that, okay, this is not the issue from the team itself, it's the issue from the driver basically, which is in this case me, not playing the team ideally. So definitely something to improve on, because I would have completely hard-walled the opponent otherwise, and we're still going to try our best to come back from this. Maybe we can. We're going to be able to get a shield here. Gligar comes back in. We can still go for the Ice Beam. We can get the knockout. So can we still knock out also the Sensors in the back? Sadly, we are not going to be able to do this because we need still 2 aerial aces to knock them out and they can still go for a charge move. So yeah, this was my own mistake here, but definitely interesting to learn this because this was not the issue from the team. Horrible lead for us. So what do we do here? We're going to stay in for a little bit because I kind of want to always have some energy onto your Machamp. And this is something that you kind of want to maybe also replicate if you want to play this team. Having energy on Machamp is insanely practical because you're always going to be able to win basically any CMP tie, and a cross chop a lot of times is just exactly what you need to finish up an opponent. So here was very cool for me to just store those energy, like the energy here from the opponent. I can still go for a charge move against the opponent's Greninja, and I can decide now to go either for the cross chop or try. Actually, I should just go for the cross chop here. Hopefully, I did this. No, I decided to go into my Mantine, trying to get some Hydro Cannons onto my Water type, which I guess is maybe even a smaller idea here, as I'm now going to be able to get more energy onto my Machamp. And I make a weird play because I decide to swap into my Machamp, and the opponent still gets to a charge move, which is not what I expected. So this is kind of bad. But I'm still going to be able to go for a Rock Slide against the opponent's Deoxys. And as you can see here, this is the thing that I mean, if you don't get completely destroyed by the fast move of the opponent, which is mainly Charm or Wing Attack or something like this, you're going to be actually fine. And here I'm going to be actually able to still go for just a cross chop, which is going to allow us to get a ton of energy out of this matchup. We still have enough health to get to another charge move most likely. And then the opponent decides to wait a little bit out here. I can still go for a charge move against the Lickitung, putting them very, very deep into the yellow health, allowing me to swap out into my Mantine. They decide to go into the Greninja. I'm gonna go for the full farm because I think I still survive a fast move here. It's going to be the Night Slash. I can still survive it. I have 2 aerial aces stored, and unless they're going to be able to go for a body slam here, which they don't, I will be able to still win this game here after having a horrible lead of Deoxys defense against my Machamp. So this is kind of how you want to play it. You kind of want to keep your energy onto the Machamp because later on this can help you out quite a bit. Again, horrible lead for me. What am I going to do here? I'm going to go up to Rock Slide because it's going to be exactly, okay, I can even go for one more if I want to, but the Rock Slide is basically exactly what it takes for them to get to 1 Ice Beam, which you can try to catch. Here I was able to catch the opponent's Play Rough, which is also totally fine. And we're going to get out the opponent's Alolan Sand Slash, which is really cool for me because I cannot deal with this Pokemon with my Mantine in the back, and I will still be able to do some decent damage with Lick plus Body Slam here. I can even go for a Power Whip, forcing the opponent to throw another charge move against me, as we are going to be able to get them fairly low. I can decide to shield this if I want to, and if I want to realign my Pokemon, but I don't want to. I'm just going to keep the energy because, again, the matchup against Azumarill is not too bad. We're going to see now the Cresselia in the back, and this is basically the worst possible team to face as a Machamp because you're going to have now either the Cresselia or the Azumarill against me. But still, as you can see here, I was able to get the opponent into the deep yellow health here, allowing me to put them into the range where kind of Wing Attack plus Aerial Ace is going to be enough to knock them out. So I'm going to be fine to just go for a charge move with my Mantine, allowing me to get a shield from the opponent here, as they're going to get not my shield here actually. I'm going to let this move go through. It's going to be another Moonblast. We don't get the debuff luckily, as we can still reach another Aerial Ace, and this should get hopefully the knockout against the opponent's Pokemon here, which it does. And now it's just down to Azumarill or this Mantine or this also our Machamp in the back. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just try to get them lower, but I'm not going to use my shield here. I decide to go full on for my Machamp. As I know that I'm going to be able to win CMP here, I'm just going to store 1 move, and now I can just go ahead and go for a cross chop here. In a perfect alignment in terms of our fast moves, this will get the shield from the opponent, but I'm still going to be able to just win this game by punching down the opponent's Azumarill, showcasing how strong this Pokemon really is, as we can now move on into the next game, having the Noctowl against us, a Pokemon that this team is not designed for. This Pokemon is kind of out of the meta, but I still was able to encounter that quite frequently actually. But here we will be able to just go for the cross chop, gonna get the shield, and thankfully, as the opponent takes now 1 extra fast move to get to the charge move, you could actually just go freely for 2 Rock Slides and always gonna guarantee you a shield advantage with a lead, which is kind of nice. But here the opponent decides to swap into the Machamp. I was able to store a Rock Slide. I'm going to be able to go for an Aerial Ace here, and I try to go for at least maybe not a full farm down, but maybe I'm going to be able to get them fairly low that I can just go for the Aerial Ace here anyway. Okay, I don't even try to get extra energy. I could have definitely tried to get some extra energy, but I didn't want to play it risky. I'm just going to decide to win this matchup here with my Mantine, as I can just go and try to go for the charge move here, but sadly the opponent still reaches another charge move, and I don't want to end up with my, with my Lickitung in the back against the opponent's Noctowl. So I decide to go for a shield, use the Aerial Ace, and they decide to swap out into the Venusaur for whatever reason. And honestly, take a look at this. I can get the shield here with the Aerial Ace, I can swap into my Machamp, I can go for the Rock Slide, and this is all it takes. All it takes to knock out basically the Venusaur here. And now it's only the opponent's Noctowl, which is going to go up against my Mantine, winning us this game here without them even facing our Lickitung in the back. Showcasing again how strong this team can be. We're going to encounter a very bad lead for us, and we're going to see also a very bad say-swap for us. We're going to get out the opponent's Medicham. It's going to be even worse because it's going to be a Power Punch variant. Power Pup is definitely not the right move here, but Power Punch variant here, which is going to definitely have a better matchup against the Lickitung. So we have to be a little bit careful, but I'm still going to be able to survive another Power Punch here. But it's going to be an Ice Punch, but I'm still going to get to a charge move. I wanted to throw a little bit earlier, to be fair, a little bit lag there, but it's fine. Always when it's like rains in the background, it feels like a little bit clunkier, but we're going to be able to still swap into our Machamp because we know that we don't really need our Machamp anymore. Like, this Machamp is basically useless against the opponent's team. So I'm going to be able to just sacrifice it. The opponent just went straight for their Frenzy Plant, and this also allows me to try to go for a full Farm Loan against the opponent, which works out amazing. Literally perfect. And they're only going to have their Pelipper in the back, and I'm going to call that this just a Wither Ball, and this is correct. And so the opponent decides to let most likely this move go through, and hopefully going to forfeit soon, but let's see. They're actually going to try to play it out a little bit. I still can go for another charge move here, which is going to show them that we are going to be able to get the shield, which is nice. And I'm just a bulkier Pokemon. I'm the similar spamminess as the opponent, not as spammy as the opponent, because they're going to get to their Weather Ball after 5 and 4. But we are going to be able to win this game. There's nothing that really can stop us here, as we can go for another Aerial Ace. And the opponent decides to go for their own charge move. Again, fine for us. We can shield. It's going to be another Weather Ball. It's a CMP tie, so this is going to be it for this game. And we can move on to the next one, showcasing again how strong this team can be, even against lost leads like here. You're going to be able to still come back if you're going to have the Lickitung as a say swap. This is something where you have to stay in, and which I don't really appreciate to play against, but I feel like I have to use a shield here as well. You kind of want to play it out maybe even in the 2-shield scenario. But here the opponent decides to swap into the Sableye, and honestly, maybe this was a mistake to swap into my Lickitung. The likelihood of them going for a return is fairly high, so I'm going to use another shield here, but I have to still kind of deal against the opponent's Lantern. And again, this was most likely a mistake to go into the Lickitung. I should have went ahead and went into my Mantine, which is insanely weak against the opponent's Lantern, being able to align this Pokemon correctly. But I expect that the opponent runs the Medicham in the back, so I decide to stay in here, of course, and try to knock them out with my Lickitung, which I'm going to be able to do. They're going to go back into the Lantern and try to go for the Body Slam bait here, which hopefully going to work out as well, as I don't want to get hit by a Power Whip. I still going to try to get to the Power Whip, which I'm going to be able to do as well, which is nice, as we are going to try to swap now into our Machamp, go for another charge move. The opponent cannot catch a break, as he can still go for a cross chop, but sadly, they're going to have the Trevenant in the back, and there's no lot that I can do about it, because maybe I honestly misplay this as well a little bit. I should have just let them knock me out here, which they don't. They are going to be able to just go for the knockout, but I needed to get some energy onto my Mantine, because now I just don't have the Pokemon anymore to deal with the Lantern. And sadly, our Switch Clock is not up yet, so I cannot try to catch a move onto my Lickitung either, so I kinda misplayed this myself. I could have played it a little bit better, but I didn't, and this is my own fault, so I'm going to lose this game here as well, which is totally fine though. Showcasing again another loss, which I maybe would have been able to win if I played it a little bit differently. But this team itself is just very strong. Again, we can showcase here how to play against horrible matchups. Horrible lead, horrible say-swap. This is really, really bad for us. We're going to have the worst possible lead, the worst possible say-swap for us. Is the opponent even going to decide to use a shield here, which is fine for me. But they can just get the knockout anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. They're deciding to go for the Scald. I don't get to another charge move, and we are forced to go into our Mantine, which at least we know we're going to be able to usually deal with. Like, there's nothing that they can really do go for other than here the Ice Punch, which is going to be just neutral. We are still going to be forced to use a charge move against the opponent, as it seems like, as we are going to see here that the Aerial Ace is coming through. This is going to get the knockout against them if they let this go, which I do, and we still at least have a shield advantage here, which is fine. And as you can see, the opponent decides to swap into their Trevenant, allowing me to get them fairly low, but also allowing me to get some extra energy. And I decide to go ahead and go for the Aerial Ace against the opponent as the opponent swaps out into their Swampert. Of course, I want to get rid of my Mantine for this reason, but we're still in a decent spot as we can just spam those Aerial Aces. Getting both shields from the opponent is really, really nice now. Having only one shield on my side is really cool because I'm going to use this shield definitely onto my Machamp. But because I'm a little bit scared about the opponent's other Pokemon, which is of course going to be the Trevenant, I am going to use a shield here, but they're gonna still get to another one, which is kinda calling day here. It's going to be a loss for sure. Or is it? We can still go for a cross jump. I don't know why I didn't go for the rock set, but this is still going to be enough to knock out the opponent, so this is going to be it for today's video. I would appreciate a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out the videos on the screen, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.